Hi, I'm Sean Quinlivan. I'd like to talk to you just for a couple of minutes about my meditation and mindfulness training programs and seminars. Interestingly, how this evolved was as I founded Cathexis Therapeutic Imagery, I had to figure out how I was going to use my experience in the corporate world. I spent 25 years in corporate restructuring, and how I could, use that in my approach to business. And interestingly, what I had seen in that experience was not just failing businesses, but failing and very challenged cultures. And I likened it to what I had seen as a rehabilitation counselor. I worked with addictions as a social worker for some time earlier in my career, and I saw a lot of what we would call family dysfunction. And I saw the similarities between family dysfunction in addictions and family dysfunction in corporate culture. And I think that, it's interesting to look at it this way, but realistically speaking, that's really what we have in the workplace is a family. And the family, a lot of times in the commonplace business world, it's very competitive, and the members of the family view things from a survivalist instinct and a fear-based reality each day. They're fighting for survival and kind of wearing their, survival instinct on their sleeves, and it's a scary place, very competitive. And so in my research to develop my approach to this and to bring my idea to the forefront, I discovered that there were some interesting companies such as Google and Apple and General Mills and some others that were using meditation and mindfulness in their workplace cultures. So I, studied them, and I worked on what they did, and I developed a unique approach. And interestingly, how life works sometimes, I occasion to come in contact with a client who had some sleeping problems. And this particular client was a training and development executive for a Silicon Valley company, a friend of my brother's from high school, who called me and said, could I help him, please, with his sleeping issues? And so I said certainly that I could. And how we did this was we worked with him. He would go down to his car, and I would hypnotize him on the phone. And we did a few sessions and, got some great results for him. And he was very impressed, and his sleeping issues resolved themselves, and these were problems that he'd had for a long time. So he had occasion to visit Los Angeles on a couple weekends and came to see me, and we did sessions in my office. But at this point, he wanted to work on his career goals, and he wasn't happy with the big corporation that he was working with. He didn't like the culture there. And so we worked on his values, what he wanted, how he viewed success, both in terms of money and compensation, but beyond that. What does success mean? What does success feel like for him? What are the values that he had about success and about achievement? And he responded quite well to this. And believe it or not, within 4 weeks of our last session, he found another job with a fantastic company and culture that he's very, very happy with. And he contacted me and said, is it possible that we could work together to develop an approach for my team to help them to come and understand some of these things that I experienced? And I said certainly that we could, that was actually something that I specialize at. And so that's the story behind it. That's how we came to develop this program. The meditation and mindfulness, if you click on my website tab, there's an article, there's a tab for meditation and mindfulness. It's a very interesting article about heart-based consciousness and emotional intelligence. It kind of explains the core concepts behind this. And there's another tab called Attracting Personal Success, which is the template for the workshop. So that explains the techniques that I use to engage the participants, to get them to buy in. It's a very experiential event. It's a lot of exercises, and it definitely transcends mere motivation and inspiration. And people buy in because the idea of a better workplace culture is attractive to them. It's not difficult to get them to buy into this idea. And so check those things out, and thank you for your time. And I appreciate you coming to visit my website. There's a lot of interesting things here. So thanks very much. I'm Sean Quinlivan.